Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Grown Mannerisms, being fluid with the currents of life. I'm John,
And I'm Javonna, also known as Vonnie.
and today we want to kind of have a continuation conversation of being an introvert and how we navigate different spaces. And one of the hardest things about being an introvert, obviously, is interacting with people. So today we're going to talk about, the struggles and the successes of how we navigate relationships in any capacity. So I'll start with you. Like, what is the hardest part for you about sharing your space, your life, your essence with anyone?
Sometimes the way that I think things through might not come across easily for others to understand just because me being in my own head and makes sense to me in my little bubble. And then when I express it, it might not be, well received or understood. And then another thing is, me being reserved may be mistaken for me being upset or angry with others when it's just like, no, I just, I'm not angry, I'm just kind of reserved right now, kind of just like in my own space, with no disrespect to anybody else or,
Do you feel like you get a lot of bad energy from people because of it? Or do you feel like people are a little bit more standoffish because you're standoffish?
I think sometimes people think like, why can't you act this way? We have our mind made up about, how people should behave in this particular social setting. And why can't you do what we expect you to do? Why can't you, just go over there and say hi?
Right.
What's the big deal? And it's
Right.
I think people expect others to be just, kind of uniform in who they are. And now there's a difference between being naturally reserved and then just being rude, to others.
Right.
And I'm not a rude person, so as long as you know my character and you know that I'm not rude, hopefully you'll understand, I'm just kind of being me. Whereas somebody who doesn't know me, they might think, oh, she's rude.
So it's interesting because it's like the way I deal with, let's say, use work as an example. I'm comfortable, like I talked about previously. I'm more comfortable at work than I am with like my loved ones, because at work there's no expectation of behavior. I can be however I feel like, and nobody's gonna.
You don't have to be personable.
Right. So, but when you're with your loved ones, your friends or whatever, you gotta at least be engaging enough that they feel like nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So at work, I guess I can come off wishy-washy because sometimes I look dudes directly in the eye, make eye contact with them, and don't speak. But the next day, the same dude, we can make eye contact and speak.
Yeah.
But if they speak to me first, I'll always speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just not always the one to engage in, or, I'm not the conversation starter. You know what I'm saying? It's easier for me to conversate like this.
Okay.
Because I ain't got to worry about, you know what I mean? Like,
right. The
keeping
response.
flow of conversation. It's really just me getting out my thoughts. That's why it's so easy for me to talk like on Instagram videos or, Facebook videos, because it's like really, it's only a minute. And it's just a minute of me getting out my thoughts. And once I get my thoughts out, I don't have to worry about engaging again. So sometimes, especially people see me on social media, they think I'm outgoing because I might always be talking on social media. But I'm like, that minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that's probably the extent of me talking for a majority of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's easier for me to talk to people that I don't have to respond to if I don't want to.
Okay. For me, it's actually the opposite.
Okay.
So in my close relationships, my family, I find them to be easier because I'm like, well, you don't have no choice but to love me. So you gotta love what you get. And when it comes to being at work, it's like I'm really reserved because I gotta show up there. I probably see them more.
You see them more than your
I see
family?
them more,
Yeah.
but it's like for some reason, like when they do like kind of company parties or like company luncheons, and they're like, okay, come eat with us. I'm just like,
Right.
like I don't want to be sitting at this table awkwardly. Like, I don't have any problem. Like, I've never gotten to any kind of disagreements with anybody at work. But it's extremely uncomfortable. So I guess it goes into what we were saying when, like, it's like what you have to reveal to people when it comes to family or intimate relationships. I'm just like, you gotta take me as I am, because we got this kind of bond. But them, they don't have to.
The funny part about that is, as you were talking, I was thinking about it, it's like, if you have people in those situations like at work, how do they get to know you if you don't talk? I'm speaking that to myself as well, because I'm sitting there like, if you want to be accepted for who you are, your family have no choice to accept you, because they suppose that they gotta love you.
Yeah.
But is in essence, you also not giving anyone else a chance to love you, because the people at work may love you too if you just open up and talk to them. And sometimes I see, like, my coworkers, I work a solitary job. Like, we don't have to interact on a daily basis. Like, you come get your paperwork, hop in your truck, you go. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I see, especially at the end of the night, not so much in the morning. In the morning when you're getting yourself together, that's where the small talk normally happens while you're loading your equipment up. We in the team meeting waiting for our paperwork to come, or our loads to be ready, whatever. But at the end of the night, when I be seeing dudes like standing in the parking lot talking, standing there, I'm like, I don't say it, but I be thinking like, y'all niggas don't want to go home. Like, we been here all day. Like, so it'd be like groups of people, and I like cut in between or cut around, like, don't.
Excuse me.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah.
Try to get through.
Yeah, so, and it's not like you said, it's not a problem with anybody personally.
Yeah.
Like, because I actually, I think most of the dudes at my job is cool. But I just couldn't imagine, like, after work, or sometimes they bump into me, like, we might cross paths on our route out in the street sometimes, and they might be on the phone with a coworker. They're like, oh, yo, I'm on the phone with such and such. And I'm just like, oh, you talk on the phone with each other during the day, too. Like two people got my number, and one of them is somebody that got me the job, so we were friends outside of the job. And the other one is we just happened to exchange numbers because we had to help each other out for a particular reason, because we was in the same area. But other than that, I don't really feel the need to talk to nobody.
Yeah, I was like that in school too. Like, I see kids like hanging out to school, and I'm like, man, I couldn't wait to go home. Leaving school, I couldn't wait to go home. Just get me out of this place.
Yo, you know what's funny about school? When I think about that, it's funny, because I was the same way. I didn't go to school that much, but when I did go, it was funny because I had some people I rocked with in the school, and then but most of my friends were like me. They didn't go to school much, so we were hang out outside. So it wasn't too many people in the school that knew me intimately. Yeah. But it was funny that, depending on what people thought of me, because they didn't know me, they would see me in different settings and just say, like, I knew you was like this because this. But it would be totally different settings. So, for instance, remember when I was working at Radio Shack while I was in school, where the school helped me get the job. So I had a dude from school see me when I was working at Radio Shack, and I was behind the counter. I was doing stock, but then I brought something behind the counter for a customer or something. And he was like, I heard him whisper to his friend, like, yo, I knew he was smart. He working here. I knew he was smart. And I was just like, I failed every class. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that was because I wasn't smart, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
he was just, he didn't know my level of thing. He was just like, I knew he was smart. So he, in his mind, he assumed that, oh, he was quiet because he was always doing his work. But the hardest part for me is relationships, though. The hardest part for me,
like romantic relationships.
Yes, those type of relationships, like friends. I'm like you. Like, people gotta take me as I am. If I don't feel like talking, I'm not gonna talk. If I feel like talking, I'm gonna talk your head off, and you're gonna take it. You ain't gonna tell me shut up, and you ain't gonna force me to talk. If I don't want to talk, I'm gonna be stone faced and silent if I don't want to talk. But when you're in a relationship, romantic relationship, you have to be with that person every day, and you have to have some level of consistency with your affection, attention, you know what I'm saying, how you allocate those type of emotions. So those emotions on that level, it's easy for me to talk about how I feel about something, but it's hard for me to talk about how I feel about someone.
For me, I've been married a long time, and what I know about you is that you can remain friends with outside of your romantic relationship. Like you can still deal with people that you dealt with in the past on a friendship level. So with me, like my husband is like my best friend, and I think that's why it works. It doesn't work just strictly off of, oh, you're beautiful, you're attractive, you know, I like you, let's move into this, you know, this relationship. It was like, this is my best friend, you know. So that's how I kind of feel like that's the only way we could make this happen, is from being friends.
And I want to say for the record that I know it's kind of cliche. Like I haven't been to many weddings in my life, but even when I see weddings, I always hear in the vows that someone says, "You're my best friend," and they don't be. You know what I'm saying? But I can honestly say, you and, you know, maybe one other couple I know that, like, y'all with each other, or like, if it's like, yo, we do this together, like talking to Troy sometimes is like talking to you. Like, I've never, you know what I mean, talked to any of y'all's, you know, growing up, like, you know, connected with anybody. I have a lot of female relations, cousins, sisters, aunts, whatever.
Yes, a lot of women.
So that's what I'm saying, y'all. I mean, I'm talking about them in that way. But talking to Troy is just like talking to you, or even talking to Rock, or it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's an easy conversation. So I can vouch for the fact that y'all's goals, what they say goals, like that's what I'm saying. But that's the not ease, because I know every relationship is, you know, you have moments, but I'm saying it's like so I'm not saying y'all don't work at things, but I'm just saying, like, the ease of interaction that y'all have, that is something that I've always, you know, admired, and it's something that I always aspired to.
Sometimes you carry your friendships different than your romantic relationships, or, you know, it's like with your friend you have like this bond, and yes, marriage is a bond, but some people don't consider their spouses their like friend. It's like we have this role, you know, and but when it's like it's a buddy or a pal, you know, it's like y'all intent is to kind of like just have fun and enjoy each other's presence.
Right.
So that's how we're able to sustain what we have, because we just kind of have fun.
That's what I'm saying. Like, for when it comes to a relationship, it's like I can be direct and honest, and sometimes I feel like direct and honest too soon can turn. Remember how you was giving advice to you know, me and my friend before, and
yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
And you was telling him, you was like, yo, y'all guys can be too honest. There's a such thing as being too honest, or too honest too soon. I can't remember exactly how you phrased it, but you was giving him advice on, and you was like, you can give too much. I forgot how you don't remember what you said. Yo, I'm trying to remember, because you said, but it made sense to me and him, because me and him, he always referenced back to it in the sense, because I'm not quoting you correctly. That's probably also why you don't remember. I'm gonna just tell you what we took from it.
Okay.
All right. So when you said it, what I said is that sometimes I'm too open in the beginning, in the sense of sometimes you got to ease people into certain things, and if you give them a certain, which everybody knows, if you treat somebody a certain way in the beginning, they get used to this. You can spoil them.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
And then if you're not consistent with that, you know, it's pretty much you creating a monster. And he, in his instance, he was talking about his situation. But for me, I feel like sometimes I'm an open book, because I'm not shy, I'm reserved. So my like we talked about before, I'm not a socially awkward introvert, or I'm not really shy anymore. You know, I was probably shy younger, but I'm not really shy. So I don't really have that problem. But my problem is that because of that, sometimes I'm open about certain things, and I'm just like, it kind of feel like every time I show too much, it kind of make people kind of like, I know it was all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's a hard balance of, like, for me, I know how to be open and honest. I don't know how to play the relationship game per se. You know how sometimes you gotta, when people's like, you just meet somebody, you meet their representative.
Yeah.
I don't know how to be the representative.
Yeah.
I only know how to be me, and so sometimes I'll bring people in very easily and very fast. So for me, if I see it, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
But and rightly so, a lot of women are more hesitant and like, oh no, I gotta work up to something. And so for me, because I'm gun ho from the beginning, and women, like I said, rightly so, may take their time a little bit more before they get to certain points with people. By the time they get to that point, I kind of be like, well, you rejected, quote unquote, rejected. When I was trying to give you this, like initially, you were saying, wait. Now I don't want to do it no more. So then when they get to the point where they just like, all right, John, I'm ready to go. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I can communicate it well, which is to go back to your point about how I stay friends with people. But if I'm looking for something more than a sustainable friendship, it requires a different level of flow. But I think overall, when it comes to these type of conversations and relationships with people, it's very important to definitely be who you are. That is of the utmost importance, to always be who you are, and for me to be who I am, for you to be who you are. However, we also have a responsibility. Anybody has the responsibility. Anybody you allow into your life and you tell them you love them, you give them any type of status or importance in your life, you now have a responsibility to that person to be accommodating and accepting of them as well. So if we're, even no matter how introverted you are, and I'm speaking to myself, for myself and to myself on this, no matter how much of an introvert I am, and being true to myself as I am, if I tell someone I love them and I allow them in my life, I have to be accepting and accommodating to them as well. So I can't just say, well, this is how I am. That's the biggest cop-out.
For that's a marriage killer. Or a strong relationship killer.
Yeah, it's just like, I can't just be like, this is how I am. You know what I'm saying? So it's always, well, what do you expect? What do you expect? What are your expectations? And how can I meet your goals while still being maybe the person that you're with, the person that I would want to be with, would make me a better version of myself. Like, a more completer version of myself, a more well-rounded version of myself. I've always looked at relationships as I have to be someone else. And so that's where the rebellion come in, because that me being someone else might last for a certain period of time if I'm really engaged with the person. You know what I'm saying? I might try to step out of my comfort zone and get into theirs. And you know what I'm saying? That's when I feel like I'm open. And that's where the inconsistency comes at, because I might be opening myself up and telling someone how I really am, but then my actions may be trying to fit the mold of what I think that they may need. You know what I'm saying? And then I get angry that I'm constantly trying to not be myself. So I'm placing the blame on them that I can't be myself, when really they just like, well, you haven't tried to be it. So, you know what I'm saying? So I think you have to find that right. I have to find the right balance of, being accommodating and accepting, and finding a way to be a better version of myself in relationship, or even a maybe not even better, just a relationship version of myself, and not feel like I have to change myself to be in a relationship. You know what I'm saying?
So I mean, I guess it's all on preference. Like, like, do you want to have it?
Right.
Like, and if you do, then you're gonna have to kind of like nurture it. Like, like anything you gotta feed, like a plant. To be cliche, it's like your plant is not gonna just stay green and vibrant without you feeding it.
Right.
Whereas you might not feel like it.
Right.
You might have forgotten the last time you put water in it, because you're not keeping schedule. But if that's the case, it's gonna die. And then, so I guess the way that I just feel is in our little journey of life, it's like, even being introverted, you want somebody to understand you. You want somebody to see you and all your glory, all your flaws, and be like, I still choose them. Like, I still want them to be part of my circle. And so I don't know. I know it could be tough for people like us, but
well, you give me hope. The New Hope, Star Wars, The New Hope. You did it, and you did it for over a decade.
Yeah, yeah. It's come with its challenges, but I guess like anything that's worth having is going to have challenges.
Right.
Anything worth your time, it's gonna bring you some sort of pain. It's just like Bob Marley quote. I hope it's Bob Marley. I hope I'm not like looking at the internet and the internet is just putting somebody's name with something. It's like it was something along the lines of, and I'm gonna find it to be exact. I'm gonna mess it up. Like everybody is gonna disappoint you. Everybody. You just gotta find the one who is worth being disappointed over. That's not how that quote goes, but it's something like that.
Well, you can even it's like if it's worth the energy, and this goes for anything. If it's worth the energy and it's worth the time, then it's worth the hardship and the heartache.
Yeah,
possibly. You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
as long as the benefits outweigh.
Yeah.
As long as the benefits outweigh.
Yeah. So definitely. This has been Grow Mannerisms, being fluid with the currents of life. I'm John.
I'm Javonna.
And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll check y'all out next time. Or y'all check us out next time.